Today we're making the world's best omelet. Now a whole lot more goes into an omelet than just eggs. You've got to have vegetables. Sometimes you want to add meat. You almost always have to add cheese, that's for sure. And the best thing is whenever you start adding your vegetables, you want to make sure that you use some of the freshest, most colorful, vibrant vegetables you can find. I love an onion, absolutely. Red peppers are my absolute favorite. I'll take those over a bell pepper, those green things, any day of the week, twice on Sunday. I do not enjoy a bell pepper, but now these red ones, the flavor that they have is just so nice. And then that color is absolutely brilliant. I do enjoy it. It's really easy to cut the seeds out of these before you start slicing into the rest of it. And they're so easy to chop. It goes by so quickly. Whenever we speed it up, it sounds fantastic too. Gonna use one of these portobello mushroom caps. Now these usually come from the store pretty dirty, so you want to make sure that you wipe those off really well with a damp cloth or towel. And the same thing, we'll just put it right through the chopper. Beautiful. And then we're going to use these beautiful little cherry tomatoes. They come in red, yellow, and orange, just for a little bit more texture, a little bit more color. Now you can see here on the cutting board, those mushrooms are still pretty dirty, so we're going to make sure that we put those through a good rinse before we throw them into the skillet. And of course, spinach. You got to have that chlorophyll. This is probably one of the more difficult vegetables to chop, I'd say. So you just kind of have to get your knife in there to get dirty. All right, our skillet is going to be overflowing with butter and garlic. Make sure you got plenty of both of those in there, okay? Yes, please. We already had a dollop of butter in there. It just didn't seem to be enough. So we threw another pat in there to keep everything nice and lubricated. Make sure nothing sticks to our pan. And, of course, to give it just that extra bit of flavor that we absolutely love. Give it a nice little shake. Try to get every one of those little crumbles of garlic nice and covered in the butter. Then we're going to toss in our onion. Now, folks ask me that, like, well, how much onion is that? I was like, well, I don't know. About a handful, you know. And if that doesn't suit you, well, throw another handful in. That's the best part about this. You put in as much as you like or as little as you like, or some of these you're going to skip. And you may have some other ingredients you want to put in there that we don't mention in this recipe. I love the flexibility of being able to add whatever you want and leave out whatever you don't. Now we're going to give it a nice little stir to make sure that that butter gets all over everything in the skillet. We want to make sure everything in here gets tender without just, cooking it to death. It's always so important to make sure that everything gets coated with that butter, okay? Whew, God, that smells so good. Next up, we're going to throw in those tomatoes. Now, not only are they going to give it just a little bit of acidity, they're going to give it a whole lot of color, which I love. And they're going to add just a little bit more moisture, because there's only so much that your butter can do for you as far as that's concerned. We've rinsed these portobellos and added those in as well. I love the texture of those. It gives it a little bit of a chewy bit, but it's also really nice and soft. It gives it this really earthy flavor as well. Ooh, I do love a good mushroom. You can just sit here and listen to that sizzle. Man, that's like music to my ears. Ooh. Next up, ooh, that gorgeous red pepper. Look at that. Ooh, I love the color that adds to this mixture. I do. It gives it a crispness. It gives it just a little bit of that strong flavor that peppers will want to do. And it is so good. And now you've got so many beautiful textures and colors right here in the skillet. Eating is an art. It is. It's about fueling the human, of course. But whenever you get right down to it, it is so nice to be able to eat something beautiful. Something you got to do, so you might as well make something pretty out of it. Oh, look at that. We'll give that another couple of minutes just to sort of get that really nice and tender. We're going to add in some spice. Now, whatever you've got in the cabinet is usually pretty good. This is sort of like a blend of spices. It's going to have like the seasoned salt, garlic salt, those kind of things, white pepper. Whatever you got going, make sure you throw it in there just to give it a little extra oomph. Give it a good stir. Make sure that all that covers all the pieces in the skillet. Want to make sure you've got a really balanced flavor throughout. And then we're going to save and put in that spinach last. Because if you overcook your spinach, it tends to get real soggy real fast. It'll wilt very quickly, which is great. It still tastes absolutely amazing, but you do want to wait until the very last ingredient to pitch that into the skillet. The others are getting nice and tender, but your spinach has a tendency to get really delicate if you overcook it. Okay, now we're going to turn down the heat on that and focus on our eggs, okay? We're going to make us a big omelet today, so we're going to put 4 eggs into the bowl. People ask me, well, James, what size eggs do you use? Well, I love to use jumbos, but you can use whatever you find at the store, honestly. These are larges, and they'll do just fine. No worries with that at all. There we are. Do all you can to kind of keep those yolks together. And then add just a dollop of milk. You can use regular cow milk or almond milk, whatever makes you happy. Some folks out there have a little bit of a sensitive tummy, so we're going to use a little bit of almond milk in here for them. Then you can take a whisk or a fork and just zhuzh it up. Make sure you get it really nice and blended, because you don't want to have any kind of like runniness or anything. It needs to be kind of well blended throughout. Look at that. That is so beautiful. I love that we added just a little bit of milk in there. It's going to keep it nice and fluffy. Beautiful. Now we're going to add a little bit of cheese. Make sure that goes right on top of our vegetable medley there, because it's gotten so nice and tender. We've turned down the temp, and we're getting ready to fold it into our omelet. But of course, what first? More cheese. You're never going to hear me say less cheese or less butter. That's just the end of the story. A little salt, a little pepper. Put those right in there to taste. There really aren't any kind of special measurements on any of this. It's just, hey, whatever you love, put more of it in there. And if you don't, hey, either pull back or don't do it at all. Okay, now it's time to add those vegetables. Oh my goodness, look at that medley, how beautiful. You're going to see it even better in just a second whenever I spoon it in here. Look, look, look. Oh my goodness, and the stretch of that cheese, that's how you know you done did it right, okay? Don't be afraid to get a little heavy-handed with your vegetable medley, okay? Because if a little bit of it falls out, that's really not a problem at all. I would much rather be too much flavor than not enough. You know what I'm saying? Of course you do. And we can always sop up whatever's left with a piece of bread or biscuit, can't we? Yes, we can. Oh my goodness, look at that. It looks like one of those burritos that you get at one of those fast food places where they just stuff it full, and the first bite you take, everything just explodes out the sides. Oh. Now then, we're already plated, and we're going to put a little bit of something on top. Now, for us, we like to use yogurt, just plain yogurt. It's got a lot of protein in it, but you can use sour cream too if you want. And then for just a little bit of garnish, we love to use some avocado slices. Keeps it nice and cool, adds just a little bit more vegetable to it. And my goodness, doesn't it look beautiful right there on the top? So hey, if you want to do it better than everybody else, stick around. This is absolutely one of the best omelets you will ever eat, and you got to make it at home. Eat up, y'all.